Well, hello everybody. It's Friday morning. A lot of people are at work. This video is several days in the making, and it's got to be gone over in a mass amount of economic truths, international narratives. I watched it all live this morning, and you know what, folks? I just don't want to get off topic. Wrote everything down on a little note because there's a lot to go through, and it's all terrifically important, and it's scary too. I'm just gonna do something here. Sorry guys, give me a sec here. I apologize. It's a nice day in Alberta, a little too nice. We're gonna get 20s for the next 4 days, and so it's a nice warm morning. There, okay. Get rid of this too. I'm gonna burn my head. Okay, first thing I want to hit is the UK and why it's important, what I'm about to say, for every Canadian. When you open the Constitutional Acts of Canada, the introductory to our country, to everything your politicians do is right there in the preamble, called preliminary. It's the same thing worldwide. It's the introduction to our country, what our country is. And clearly, we design and model ourselves in this country off of the UK, the British Empire in its entirety. And I'm going to go through every economic factor that proves that in just the last couple days, because there's global releases of data, domestic data released in the last 90 days up till the last 2 days, and it's a terrific amount, and I'm an economist, so I need to look at those, and it was no surprise to see Justin Trudeau in New York. But here it is from the governor of the Central Bank of England, and this is quote unquote what he said. Business owners and all employees in the UK, you have to learn to be worth less. The subjects of the UK, the second and third class, you have lost, and now you must accept that you've been devalued. It's not coming back. You're never going to earn your way out of this truth and reality. He says, stop passing inflationary hot potato. Businesses can charge more. Customers can get angry about paying more and then demand higher wages. But at the end of the day, the inflation, this is the governor of the Bank of England, UK's central bank. You have been devalued forever. There's no coming back. You have to accept the fact that your businesses are never going to do as good as they were doing 2 years ago ever again. And people, all working class in the UK, have to accept the fact that they're not going to get it back. You can't get wages to get out of this, no matter what you do to stop these lower standards of living, this higher cost of living. You can't get out of it. The Crown has already transferred the money. The money's gone, and you all have to pay. Those under the divine elite, all of the divine first class, identically as Canada, it's a class structure, UK. You have to accept you've lost. You're worth less, and you're never going to be worth more. Your profits will never be what they were, and employees' wages will never catch up to pay for what's been lost in the last 3 years. End of story, quote unquote, governor of the Bank of England. And why every Canadian should pay attention. Again, our politicians, Justin Trudeau, Pierre Poilievre, Jagmeet Singh, and we can go on through Elizabeth May, Maxime Bernier. They all swore to it. They all uphold it. They're all going to follow it till their end, because they will always be paid in their pensions and their crown wages, especially for privy. They've sworn to it. They took MP positions. They're in it for life. There's no getting out. The consolidated funds work for them at our expense, and they have no interest in stopping it. Legally, they can't stop it unless the Prime Minister acts within the Crown, like countries around the world are doing. So that is a major thing that every Canadian must understand. Now, I don't want to miss anything because it's all brutal honest truth that you all have to know. So New York, everybody, Trudeau ran off to New York. Pierre Poilievre's freaking out. Trudeau made the announcement that, contrary to what we hear from Maxime Bernier, Pierre Poilievre, and all those supposedly on the right who blame global monsters. Oh, it's evil billionaires all over the world. Well, today, in fact, this morning, if anyone was paying attention, Justin Trudeau admitted that it's him. He's currently the leader of this OWO. He is the world leader. Administered under the royal family, King Charles III. It was Prince Charles. As Harper signed on in 2012 with the Commonwealth Charter, all globalization starts and ends with the Prime Minister of Canada since 2012. It's us who led the WEF. It's us who leads the Sustainable Development Goals since 1993. You can go back through prime ministerial roles. It started with Canada. Every prime minister is going to continue it. They're not going to stop. Barbados is there too. The two hand-picked world leaders who are leading it all. Absolutely. The Green New Deal, Joe Biden just signed on in 2021. Folks, it was Prince Charles who rolled that out in 2012. Again, if you haven't read the Commonwealth Charter 2012, read it. Prince Charles, under his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, wrote all that out. She royal stamped it. It went through, and Canada and other Commonwealth nations, but it was always Canada the leader. Canada won. London, Manchester, you'll find the Tower. All prime ministers to keep their crown have been doing it since 1993. Justin Trudeau just rolled it all out this morning. It was live. Can't make it up. He says, yeah, it's me. I'm doing it. That's our design. That's what we've agreed to. I am the leader in the world. I bring in all those foreign interests. I will push all the agendas, as Stephen Harper did before me, all the way to 1993, folks. It's all there. Conservative, liberal. It's not going to end. Pierre Poilievre is not going to end it. It's his crown, too. They want it. It's a little bit windy and I need the breeze. Sorry. So that was done this morning. Clearly, anyone telling you about foreign billionaires, Gates, all these people, WEF, all of it, the Prime Minister of Canada and the leader of Barbados are the two world leaders on it, pushing through all those agendas, crafting it in New York, not in the UNSC, as they clearly told you. This is what they want to do going forward. Initial presentation by the United Kingdom's royal family. Because apparently King Charles and his entire family know what's best for all the subjects and to find savages. And it's not, they're just the leaders, the two countries who've been leading it since 1993. Clearly articulated today for the whole world in the UN General Assembly today. Hosted people. Nobody gave a shit. Nobody, and I'm sorry to use the language, nobody cared. Just Trudeau and his group of billionaires from all over the world, largely from the United Kingdom. And folks, I'm in it all through May. I'm all through the UK. I've been invited, and I'm with those 3,500 global companies that are running this since 2012, trying to get it through since 1993. But again, Canada's prime ministers since 1993 are the leaders of it. articulated today. Trudeau doesn't even hide it now. It's like, yeah, that's what we're doing. There's nothing you can do about it. Just like all the ethics investigations, just like all the publications from our highest police authority sees this and nothing can be done. You just heard another one and another Crown position. Oh, it's not in our authority. We can't investigate. Can't investigate anything, folks. There is no accountability in Canada. Neither is there in UK. That's the constitutional design. Always been here. Canadians walk forward. Blank, blank. Oh, well, doesn't matter to me. So now let's go through the major economic markers worldwide, globally released. Just a lot of it in the last 90 days, but in the last 2 days, some major ones were. Let me go through those. So the climate action that's all through this month, what Justin Trudeau just rolled out as, again, the world leader that all the billionaire companies, all these billionaires are all going are the boogeymen. It's Justin Trudeau's leading them, as every prime minister. So they went on climate action. Another lie for all the Inuit Northwest Territories. They brought in the president of Germany. He came here, went up to Northwest Territories just before Trudeau pissed off to New York, and they did a big presentation. Mary Simon took him all the way to Northwest Territories to lie to all the Inuit, telling them that they're going to get much done for the Arctic and deal with all the Arctic issues, clean water, food, and sustainable development. Folks, ICC, not the criminal court, there's a whole different one. The Intercircumferential Polar Council, okay? There are 8 nations inside that, and I promise you Germany isn't one of them. Russia and USA, and Russia dominates the Arctic. We can go Norway, Sweden, Netherlands, there's a few other countries, but folks, Greenland, there's none of anything but Russia and USA who design the Arctic strategies. They have all the firepower by a large margin. And that ocean, the Arctic Ocean, that relatively remains dormant. What I mean by that is not a lot's going in and out of it compared to every other ocean in the world. And if USA and Russia don't allow you any authority, you have none. What is Germany's status with the Arctic? Observer state, meaning both USA and Russia say, no, not for you. You can watch. Keep your filthy hands off our Arctic. We have a polar council, and you're not in it. You can watch, but you will not touch or do anything. Now, Canada is one of those countries on the council, and Canada has problems with USA and Russia on the claims it's made, and the actual uprooting of First Peoples throughout our Canadian history and transplanting them throughout the Arctic, leaving them basically to die. It was actually to see them die, but they didn't die, so then Canada changed its narrative, well, and claim it for ours. Well, that doesn't work for USA and Russia. And in fact, since the Ukraine military operation, USA and Russia have shut down all talks on the Arctic. There will be none for 2 years since March. 2 years ago, 2 years since March, it will be coming. And they haven't done a thing. 1 year straight, and now this month, I guess. So 13 months. There's been nothing and no meetings of the ICC, Intercircumferential Council, Polar Council. They are not having any meetings. Germany has absolutely no say, none whatsoever. What Governor General Mary Simon is promising to the Inuit with Germany is all a fiction, all a lie. A complete lie. There will be nothing for water. There will be nothing for resources. There will be nothing for food and stability and any kind of sustainable development or climate action in the Arctic. over USA and Russia's dead bodies. You think Canada's going to force that with Germany? I don't think so. Total, utter lie. Lie. NATO, since we just finished that. So then we had our NATO weekend. And I want to tell everybody the real deal that you're not hearing on the news. And it's awful. We sent all of our Canadian tanks to Ukraine. All of them. Trudeau and Conservatives jointly in the House of Commons and NDP largely supporting it, told the Allies, so don't worry, we're going to put an order in for all brand new tanks. Sent all their tanks to Ukraine. Out of those 70 plus tanks that Canada sent, all of our fighting power, guess how many remain operational today? 9. 9. Do you think we're ever going to see those again, folks? The answer is no. We gave up our entire tank power in Canada. All that remains is Alberta, Canada, the Suffield base, and the UK lease. That's all that remains in Canada until we replace all of our tanks. And guess what Trudeau said? Well, it's not in the budget. It's not in the budget. We can't make our NATO commitments this year or next or anywhere in the budget for the next 4 years. Do you know what happens to Canada when we don't make our commitments? And we'll see what Joe Biden does, but what do you think China and Russia think about that when they flew those balloons across the Arctic? Clearly, everyone's trying to lie and deny about it, but that's what happened. And they proved that NORAD's a joke, Germany's a joke, and Canada's a joke. What we're being told out west is a lie. And if you want to know what's true, learn this. You have all been extremely devalued. And more than that, you're being raped, pillaged, and plundered. All of it. We're going to go through those economic factors. St. Thomas announcement, Ontario, Volkswagen, electric cars, all the plants going there. It's going to be jobs. Justin Trudeau says working hard for the middle class. St. Thomas has a population of 40,000. It has one of the highest costs of living. A 2-bedroom apartment on average goes for $2,000 a month. Anyone who wants to dispute that, I just spent 3 years on and off in Ontario, working there largely, renting, living the Ontario dream. The BS. Like the Oshawa and the 40 blocks each and every way around me of utter and sheer poverty. Living in a $1,300 a month studio apartment, rat roach pit of the worst magnitude. Probably the most horrific conditions I've ever lived in my life. And I'm middle-aged. That's just holding a job there and renting a $1,300 a month studio. And it's even worse in St. Thomas, folks. Much, much worse. $280,000 for your average 2-bedroom, 3-level, old high-rise condominium. That's what you get. Like a 3-plex. 2-bedroom. $280,000 minimum. Not a nice place. Old, decrepit, dilapidated. Outdoor parking stall. And that's 2 bedrooms. Tiny, 650 square feet. And Trudeau says, hey, no worries. It's all going to work out. Those striving hard to get to the middle class and those working hard in it. Do you call that middle class, Justin Trudeau? Give your head a shake. Pierre promises all kinds of things against that, but here, let's go through economic markers of Canada. We're to take on 550,000 new immigrants this year. Do you know what the Bank of Canada and all economists now say about our economy? We got a 0.1% increase month over month on our economy. They're now saying instead of 2.5% growth in GDP, we're facing 1.4. They've shrunk it already, nearly approaching half. And this last month shows a 0.1. What's next month? And the month after that, what are they going to do in 3 months? What's going to be the new indicators? In Canada, if you go 2 quarters with contractual GDP, you're in absolute recession, possibly depression. And when you're taking 550,000 new Canadians a year and that kind of economic marker, right now, just a 0.1%, you are devaluing every Canadian exponentially. And it's true, if it wasn't for the immigration and the borrowing against all of you, the regular Canadians, you would be in a recession. But that's what's propping up the economy. Borrowing against you and your children astronomically. Increasing the property values exponentially. That's what's happening. We're devaluing ourselves, overinflating property in an unhospitable country, largely besides southern Ontario and coastal BC. Largely, it's inhospitable 6 months a year, the rest of Canada. And you're telling me that these property values, super hyper overinflated, are not the central cause of what's wrong with Canada today? Who's creating the inflation? It's the Liberals, the Conservatives, and NDP. None of them are slowing down immigration. They're saying it's central to the country. We need it. No, we need natural birth rates, but nobody can afford to have children. So they're going to import third world persons who don't know any better and find quickly that the country costs too much. I'm glad I put on my notifications, because the same wingding keeps messaging me, keeps calling me, and he won't stop. He does it every time. But it's like they want to wreck my video. It's the only thing I can think it is. I think I'm going to have to block him. Here's another one for you folks. So several months ago, I talked about mortgages in this country, that 20% of mortgages this year are facing default. Well, guess what? That's not going to happen. Everybody clap. Yay! Guess what has been released today in global data? Canada has changed the lending rules. They've copied China. They've copied China. All of you at your excessive interest rates coming for renewal that you can't afford, don't worry. Canada copied communist China. This is real, folks. You can Google it. 35-year mortgages, even 40-year mortgages. So don't worry. Your 3-year, your 1-year, your 5-year renewal dates that are coming this year, don't worry. All 6 banks approved by the Central Bank of Canada is going to let you redesign your mortgage, amortize it for 35 or 40 years. You'll never own it. You'll die before you pay it off. Don't worry. Canada's got your back. They're going to copy the lease system of communist China. Yeah, you can lease places 30, 40, 50 years. Heck, some people do 100 years. It's really great. Yeah, you can work till you die and never own your house. And Canada just collects all that money to feed their immigration system, their hyperinflation, and keep cranking the values up higher. You will own nothing and be happy. Who's the leader on this? Canada. Again, your Prime Minister and official opposition, Pierre Poilievre. He voted for all of it. All of it. All this year. Everything he said is a lie. He's a liar. He loves immigration. He loves hyperinflation. This is central to the rapid inflation we face. Not COVID-19. COVID-19's been gone for 2 years. All GDP markers, clearly, that's over with. What is driving the inflation today? What? It's been 2 years. Oh yeah, radical immigration and hyperinflation on private property and all the revenue the government's taking in, because the government's getting rich and their wealthy friends. Gold, like I did diamonds several months ago. This came out yesterday. The global release of all gold mined worldwide and the values countries collect. So clearly in that report, I highlighted in evidence yesterday, so Canada takes the lowest amount of money for their gold. Do you know which country is the largest in who we export our gold to? It's London. London Gold, Central London Gold, UK. 47% of all gold mined in Canada goes to the UK for 5.8 cents on the dollar. The lowest value worldwide. In fact, you can't find any other country remotely close to that. Australia, sure, but Australia builds its gold reserves. So, yes, they are second place. They take a cheesy amount just like us. I think they're about 6 cents on a dollar, but they also get reserves, meaning so much mined, so much goes in to the gold reserves of the Central Bank of Australia. At least Australians see some value. Not Canada. Not Canada. Since 1993. And we can go to Brian Mulroney up to and including Jean Chrétien, who took over. And you can look at what both they did and what Harper did. They not only made this gross deal with the UK that is not seen anywhere else in the world, except for the same year, 1993, what was South Africa. Have the ballooning amount of gold that was sent to UK from South Africa for the same peanuts. Same peanuts. Peru has the same company, UK company, in there. They're getting 40 cents on the dollar for their gold mined. 40 cents on the dollar. Just to put in perspective. So South Africa got raped, pillaged, and plundered during apartheid. The wealthy crown colonial elite, the Conservatives, Liberals, and Labour Party of 1993, in full-on African apartheid, took all the gold and shipped it to UK. UK gave veto, let them destroy the African indigenous peoples, if you want to use that word, indigenous, for the South Africans. They were exploited on diamonds, on all minerals, metals, especially gold. Largest in the entire world. Guess who took over? The chart's there, folks. I can't make this up. Canada, yes, Australia, and other Commonwealth countries had to make up for what South Africa was denied to the UK. Canada's made it up. And in fact, not only do we give the same lowest value that can only be found in South Africa, we have zero reserves. Starting in 2012, after we signed on the Commonwealth Charter, Stephen Harper sold off the remainder of our reserves, 5.8 cents on the dollar, to the United Kingdom. To the glory of the British Empire. It's right in the preamble preliminary of the Constitution. We will make up for everything lost by South Africa's government, Crown colonial apartheid, white supremacist government. All conservatives, all liberals, backed up largely by NDP, Green Bloc. We can go on, even their pre-names to what they were. These are facts, folks. I can't make this stuff up. It's there. Global Analysis Giant Report. You're getting fisted. Fisted. We lose so much on gold, diamonds, precious metals, ores. China has all our rare earth minerals, 90%. USA 10%. Canadian name, China owned. All a lie. Justin Trudeau today on that stage, just like Pierre Plave. Oh, and the jobs and the mining. Oh, it's going to have so much for us. Where? I've never met a single Canadian that works in any bullion of any rare earth minerals out of Canada, which we have a shit ton. And we got companies taking that out of Canada. It's not for us. No jobs for us. No expansion in our primary sector, GDP, in those respects. None whatsoever. In fact, they contracted. Service sector. Productivity way down. Way down. Led by what? The service sector. Mass amount of your GDP, meaning it's fake GDP. Borrowed against you, the subjects and savages, as you're exploited worse than South Africans during apartheid. Canadians, you've replaced them. Our leaders are the world leaders of OWO. A lot of people call it NWO. Mark Friesen, PPC, all full baloney. The numbers are there. All of it is there. There is nowhere else in the world more exploited today than Canada. All Canadians, all First Peoples, by an exorbitant amount. An amount only found in apartheid South Africa 1993. Oh yeah, Sustainable Development Goals started in 1993. Oh yeah, Canada quit the ICJ. Really quit it in 1993, contrary to what every lawyer tells you. They created an International Commission of Jurists. We can't even go to that authority because our Crown Colonial Government quit it. We are the world leaders in all of these WEF, WHO, NWO, the people call it, realities. Since 1993, Canada started it, took it over. Took over after South Africa because the UK royal family and that British Empire of old needs to exist. They're billionaire friends and corporations that aren't sustainable without subjects and savages. That's how they make their terrific wealth. It's not USA, it's not all these billionaires. They will exploit any country that allows them to exploit it. And that's what I mean by our prime ministers entirely have been doing this. There's no disputing it. Anyone trying to dispute what I've just presented, I have all the logged reports, all the data just released in the last 2 days, never mind the last 90 days that nobody cares about. So now we have a sexual assault bill coming through, where now women, if they choose, they can waive any publication bans. So think about this, folks. They can register a father, right? You get a divorce, it's a messy one, you got kids, there's assets, you're going through it, you get to the custody part, and I know all about it, and I know a ton of men in this country know all about it. And the woman is in danger of losing the kids, which means socialist money. When you have children, you get all kinds of stuff from the government. You get all kinds of money from a guy, whether he's guilty or not. You make that accusation. That's a very easy way to win everything you need, especially if there's issues with you as a mother. And I'm not attacking women here. I'm just stating facts, folks. So they brought in this sexual assault bill. It's coming forward where a woman can waive that. So can you imagine a working guy who's married, got kids, always paying his bills, all of a sudden he's going to be all over the news that he raped, beat a woman, maybe raped, beat kids, and then all these things, losing his job, losing everything. Lawyers come in, seize his home, and of course he pleads not guilty because chances are he is not guilty. It's a messy divorce. He is going to go through the federal system in this new bill, and he's going to get registered as a sex offender. He's going to get published out. It's going to ruin him. Ruin him. His ability to mount a defense, gone. Nobody sees a problem with this. Let me tell you about the real horrific perverts and the real reality of Canada this bill doesn't address. Multiple offenders, long history, who plea bargain. You see, Canadians, when you're a criminal, you don't have to go through that federal mean system if you don't want to. No, in any territory or any province, you know you're guilty. You know you got a problem. You're drugging it. You've been raping women, assaulting women, robbing, doing all kinds of horrific crimes. Horrific crimes of horrific nature. Diseased individuals, career criminals, worst of society. They don't have to go through that system. they can plea bargain at the provincial level. And that is what this bill doesn't address. This bill allows them to continue forward, and then it preys on those who go not guilty, because who would ever admit to something they never did? And then you're in with the 3-time losers. A guy who's raped at least three times and convicted 3 times. That father will go there just by pleading not guilty, go through the ringer. Meanwhile, guys who do this all the time are just going to plea bargain at the provincial level and get away with that. 183 days a shot. Think about that. Think about that. I want to go into Alberta Police and what people don't get here. With Danielle Smith, it won't matter. Even if she did lose, it doesn't look like she's going to lose now. Looks like she's secured enough of Calgary. I think Danielle Smith's going to retain Premier, probably somewhere around, my guess, I'll say 54 seats as it stands today. And I don't see NDP mounting any more than the 39. And then that could range. Maybe NDP could see as many as 42, and we'll see it, UCP at lowest, 45 seats. That's today. But let me tell you what Danielle Smith's doing. And it's upsetting that Albertans don't see this stuff. And it's scary, and it's really troubling for me. I spent nearly 3 years in Ontario for a large portion of my time, and all the problems of Ontario, there's one thing that I learned about Eastern Canada compared to my home province of Alberta. I've been out to BC, and I haven't driven BC for a long time. I've been flying there in the last 5-6 years. I don't hardly ever drive there. So I don't really know what monitoring's like in BC, but I can tell you, Alberta, every light monitoring surveillance cameras, the government can flick a switch and track you from anywhere you go all day long. They can find anybody in a minute, in a New York split minute. They want to flick that switch. And there's no constitutional powers to stop that. I don't blame that on Danielle Smith. But that's all part of the police state. You won't find that reality anywhere else in Canada that I've seen so far. Never found any of that out east. Nowhere. And I was through the GTA entirely. Nowhere near Alberta. Alberta is not seen anywhere else so far that I've seen in Canada. I'd love to hear from people. You know, I didn't see that in Winnipeg or anywhere in Manitoba. You know, and I went through Saskatchewan. I didn't see that in Saskatoon just recently. But Alberta, every frickin' town, every light. If you're in a city or a town, you're monitored massively. That's Alberta. That is not found anywhere else but the UK and communist China. And they were having a huge deal about that just 3 years ago. And this is what blows me away about Canadians and my Albertans. You don't see that as a problem. In Hong Kong, when they transitioned to the Beijing regime, 3 years ago, just before COVID or just going into COVID, they were toppling surveillance cameras at intersections, the same ones that are rampant all over Alberta. I mean, everywhere now. Everywhere that I've seen. And, you know, and I'm just kind of like, wow, I'm shocked. I'm totally shocked. Police. And another scary thing that all Canadians, you should be afraid of when you see this rise in a place like my own province of Alberta. Heartbreaking, gut-wrenching, and everybody, oh, I think you're making a big deal of it. Oh, let's just wait and see what happens. Holy fuck. And I'm sorry to say that, but I gotta say it. Folks, when you have a police force with absolutely no checks and balances, designed and built by a head leading government official, sworn solely, appointed to and by that one government position, with zero checks and balances. The United States was no dummy, the founding fathers. They put the Second Amendment. Be ready, citizens. Don't ever allow that to ever happen. And there are southern states that are crafting the same thing, but those southern states have the Second Amendment. Jackson, the citizens of Jackson, can turn on a mob, create like Black Lives Matter, and they can turn on that police system and even that justice system. And there's nothing really the federal government can do about it. They can bring in the National Guard, but they basically just have to stand by, because it's a Second Amendment right in America when you try to autocratically take that kind of power from the people, or institute that kind of power of an elite few over the masses. That's what the Second Amendment was designed for. There is none of that in Canada. So when you see the rise of a premier who takes the premier's personal bodyguards, the sheriffs, that's what they are in Alberta, folks, cowboy hats. I'm not slamming sheriffs, I'm slamming the design of it, because it's identical to Nazi Germany. And the density of Canadians, I like the cute cowboy hats. Do you guys remember the pandemic? I'll tell you something. I went all over Canada. Do you know what was the scariest with all of those freedom fighters? Remember when we were early on before the convoy? Remember in Alberta? We were all at the legislature and the wall. And I know that National Citizens Alliance, I don't agree with all they do, but this is where we get into some of the people that they accused of racism. Maybe there's some justifications what happened in New Brunswick, but all of those folks, some of which have moved on with their lives. I see one, he's kind of cleaned up his life pretty good, got a job, and he's still there, but he's changed everything, changed his life, but he lived that reality with me. And there's a few where the wall of the sheriffs, the premier's bodyguards. Hitler had the legislature bodyguards too, folks. Do you know what he did? He started with the cities. He appointed more of sheriffs. That's what they were, the SS. And then he built 50,000 of them. Daniel Smith's doing a pilot program right now for Edmonton and Calgary, matching pound for pound police service officers with more appointed sheriffs. We've already expanded them just a few years ago to take care of highways, supposedly. Now all of a sudden they're patrolling city streets. They are appointed by the premier. They're sworn to the premier. They're the premier's personal bodyguards. That's what Hitler did. And then within 6 years, 50,000 strong, the entire police force was sworn and appointed to Adolf Hitler. That's what Daniel Smith is doing right now. She's got over 1,100 now. Think about those numbers in Canada, in our two major cities. Think about those numbers. Anyone who minimizes that or doesn't have a brain in their head to see the problem here, I don't know what to tell you. I guess pull your pants down. You deserve everything you're going to get. And when you don't speak out on that, you go, well, let's just wait and see what happens. Germany did that too. So did South Africa apartheid. They did that too. And folks, the second and third class, only half the second class has lifeboats in these agendas and system. Only half of them. And I promise you, none of the domestic primary sector has the lifeboats that the government sworn do. Most of them will get it. Most of them will get the lifeboats. There is absolutely none for the third class, and there's certainly nothing for any of the people they define as savages. All the first people under the 1876 Indian Act. The longest running act of its kind in the world. 1933 Enabling Act came after the 1876 Indian Act. Horrific, but it was short-lived, comparatively. Canada were still running it. No one has a problem with it. Pierre Poilievre says, well, it's okay. You can opt out of it, but remember, I get all your land. You get the .2 Indian reserves. And he laughs. Smug fuck. I'm sorry my language, but it's an awful video. But he laughs. Just like another Nazi we know in history. In fact, several of them. Japan had them too. We can go on and on. I can go through all kinds of countries that I know no Canadian has any idea about. This video is massive. It's huge. It goes through real topics, the real destruction of Canada as it's happening. And Justin Trudeau just published to the whole world this morning, he's in charge of it. Underneath the royal family. He's in charge. He's leading it. Look no further. It's me. and all my counterparts, as is too Pierre Poilievre. You can't vote your way out of this, folks. Pierre will lie to you, tell you whatever you want. Again, if anyone wants to know the truth, call your Elections Canada office for your electoral district association. Ask them on the phone, are politicians allowed to legally lie to me? And you're going to say, well, yes, there's no law that says they have to tell you the truth ever. Call your provincial elections office, your constituency in your area of your province or territory. Phone them up and say, excuse me, are the politicians legally allowed to lie to me? They're going to say yes. There's no law that says they have to be honest. We have two laws, and there are no way, shape, or form anything in those laws telling them that they have to be honest with you. In fact, there's no punishment, and there's certainly no accountability for lying, as you're all seeing. And if you don't see it, I don't know what to tell you. If you think it's good to have a surveillance camera at every single intersection in every municipality, town, city, hamlet, you think that a police sworn to the Premier, hired solely for the purpose of protecting the interests of the Premier, sworn and appointed to the Premier, do you think that that's a good police force? What happened to serve and protect? Oh yeah, we don't have that. So now we're going to have a police force that's now ready, willing, and able to only serve the needs of one individual. That was South Africa apartheid. If you don't know, you can look at the Nazi swastika there. That's not a swastika. It's got what looks like the kind of Z's. The kind of Z's. That was their version. Alive and well all the way up to 1993. Dismembered and destroyed. All the Allies went in there. It's all in the reports for those who don't know. That policing system was Hitler's. It was South Africa's. Many, many more. There have long since been dismembered. It was South Africa's until 1993. Now apparently it's going to be Canada's. Just like everything done to South Africa now has to be done to Canada. Canada has to generate what was lost by South Africa, as it was dismembered and destroyed and turned into a republic, a we the people republic. Now Canada fills the shoes, the boots, the loss to that wealthy elite. And who's the leader? Remember, it's always going to be the Prime Minister of Canada until we, the people, elect a party that will take the crown, use the crown to destroy the crown in 30 days and give we, the people, constitutional conventions. Federal dismemberment and redesign, absolute design for the first time ever in all the history of the provinces and territories. That is the only way out of here. And if you don't have a politician saying that they're going to do that, and they say things like, I swear my allegiance to the crown, or God save the king, like Pierre Poilievre did his second Charles was ascended, he didn't hesitate. I'm official opposition, His Majesty's official opposition, I'm a lifetime Privy Council, don't end my money. Don't end my massive money, don't tell the world I'm a Nazified piece of shit. And Justin Trudeau with this big shit-eating grin, yeah, me too, me too. Look at my whole family. Look at the Trudeau Foundation. Look at my hundreds of millions of dollars. And my family will want not waste a lot for the rest of their lives. I will be a playboy flying all over the world. I'm entitled to it. I was born into this royalty. I will pledge my allegiance forever. Jagmeet Singh, he left India. He wants nothing to do with it. He came here as a loyalist. He's a piece of shit. That's our system. Only enough lifeboats for half the second class, absolutely all the first class, none of the third class, and none of the defined savage peoples. And half of that second class is all the primary, mostly all the primary. If you're domestic, you're good for nothing too, and they will take from you whenever it suits them. They do. Look at the Bank of England, start of this video. The governor of the Bank of England, centralized bank. You lost all domestic business owners and working class United Kingdom subjects. You've lost. We won. We took the money. It's never coming back. You owe us forever and a day. We own you. Get used to it. You can't play inflationary hot potato. We're only getting richer. You're only getting poorer. Get used to it. That was the statement today. Does that sound like my economics? At least they're being honest, I guess. Have you read the preamble of your Constitution? We will model this country off of that. That's our future. Who's the leader of the globalization in the world? The Prime Minister of Canada. Was just showing at New York today. Joe Biden just signed on in 2021. Canada started it, signed on as the official leader. Post the fall of South African apartheid, Canada replaced it. Your Prime Minister in that year said, we'll take over. Mulroney set it all up. Kaching knocked it all down. Yeah, you set up the bowling pins and I'll knock them down. Strike. We destroy the Canadian subjects and savages. We will. We'll replace apartheid South Africa. Canadians will replace them. And I hate to say it. I'm going to give that warning you have to give. I'm going to say an offensive word. A word I didn't craft or create. A word constituted by the United Kingdom. Absolutely. Canada, absolutely. And many other Commonwealth countries. And that is a slave term called niggers. And that's what we're going from. We are the new South African savage niggers. That's what we are. Subjects and Canadian savages. Always a savage first people. That was theirs in South Africa. That's all of us now. And who's leading this? Justin Trudeau, Pierre Poilievre, Jagmeet Singh, Elizabeth May, Maxime Bernier. We can go on and on. Bloc, Yves Blanchette. We can go on and on through all the parties. They're all sworn to it. We'll abide by it. And we'll do this to you. That's my video. Share because it's the right thing to do. Share because you don't want to see any more down the toilet. We're going far down the toilet. How far do you want to go? That's up to you. Share the video. Everything in here is truthful. All credible, verifiable, and you can back it up. It's all released. If it not in the last 48 hours, 24 hours, absolutely over the last 90 days. Everything's there. All of it. I took my time. We're at point critical, line in the sand. And people say, oh, we're going to revolt. God's going to help me. God doesn't help people who can't help themselves, especially when you're worshipping false idols. You're politicians. And the Canadians are doing it. And God's going to help me. No, they're not. Oh, God's going to help you. Not in any history, not in any Bible. Doesn't matter which religion we pick. Got to help yourself. You can't be a perpetuator and expect to get help. Anyone saying that, I'm sorry. Your religion doesn't support your assertions. Somebody has programmed you, institutionalized you to believe in that lie. That's my video. Share, share, share. Get it out there. It's up to you to make the changes. Bye now.